Waiting for Facebook. Just give me 1 second. It always takes so long to go on there. Okay.
Nice. Already shows on your story. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
There we
usually
are.
I'm able to add you guys at the same time.
We're live.
We are live. Let's see. Let me try to hop on there real quick there and add you guys here. Just hang on, everybody. Just give me 1 second to get started here.
Live stream prep.
It's so beautiful.
Hmm.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Health Hack Thursday. This is your weekly dose of real life wellness tips, simple rituals, and inspiring stories to support your health journey. For those who doesn't know me, I am your host, Melissa Patterson, and I help high achieving moms release postpartum weight, exhaustion, and overwhelm so they can reclaim their energy, focus, and show up fully, both at work and at home. As a holistic health practitioner, I'm deeply passionate about advocating for maternal wellness and supporting women through every season of motherhood. So, through a holistic lens, I specialize in hormone balance, postpartum recovery, and digestive health, guiding women back to their vitality with personalized care and sustainable practice. So, and I am here joined by my wonderful co-host, Megan Calito. She's a skilled herbalist, aromatherapist, and a regenerative health practitioner. Her heart is deeply rooted in plant medicine. And through her cozy herbal apothecary in upstate New York, she supports her community with natural remedies, education, and everyday tools for holistic wellness. So, today we are so honored to have um, an amazing conversation that will truly like hit your heart and your soul. We have our guest speaker who is truly embodies the heart of transformation. His journey from pain to purpose is not only inspiring, but it's deeply healing. So I'm honored to
Mm.
welcome Vince, the founder
Thank
of
you.
Invincible Kingdom Collective. In this space, leaders are developed and people come together in authentic community to explore themselves, their faith, and their divine purpose. So,
Mm.
Vince, after nearly losing his life to drug overdose in 1999, Vince's path took a powerful turn. What followed was nothing short of miraculous, a profound awakening to presence of God within and a deep remembering of who we are as children of the Most High. He's walked
Mm.
courageous road of trauma recovery, faced painful emotions, and uncovered the subconscious patterns that shape our lives. So, through mentorship, training, and soul level healing, he has developed tools that go straight to the root, empowering others to break through limitations, lack, and emotional pain. So his mission is bold and beautiful to guide others into full remembrance of truth, of who they are, and to help them reclaim the invincible power that already lives
Mm.
within. Welcome,
Mm.
Vince.
Thank you.
Please let everybody know about this amazing transformation that you experienced. Let's take us back all the way to
Mm.
a wake up moment in 1999.
Thank you so very much. I'm delighted to be here with both of you ladies. I appreciate what you're committed to and creating and allowing me to be here first and foremost. It's a true pleasure and delight, and I honor what both of you are and who you are for people, what you are for people. It's really awesome. So yes, in 1999, that was the pivotal moment, waking up on the sidewalk, not knowing what was going on, vomiting blood. It turned out that I'd been up about 2 days partying, cocaine, LSD, little ecstasy, nothing too much actually. I would do 4 days straight like that with no sleep. So it wasn't even that big of a deal, but I was having micro seizures prior to getting in the vehicle on our way to go buy more cocaine. And yeah, I passed out behind the wheel. And when I woke up, They started telling me what was happening, brought me to the hospital. I was already arrested. I had two felony drug charges the year prior. I was supposed to be on probation and doing drug tests, and it was a violation of probation. I'm handcuffed to the bed now because of the violation of probation, and I'm just looking at my hand cuffed to the bed, sitting in the hospital, and realizing I didn't realize that I was dead. Like they told me I had no heartbeat for a few minutes, that I'm lucky to be alive, and I'm just thinking like, wow, I was driving my car one moment and then I'm waking up on a sidewalk another moment, and there was nothing in between. No angels or demons, no heaven, no hell, no God, moment, no light at the end of the tunnel, none of those cool stories that we all have heard about, right? And I'm thinking, gosh, that's like if I didn't wake up, I wouldn't even have known that I had died. Something about that in my mind really got to me. And it made me realize for the first time ever as a 21-year-old, very arrogant and cocky, tough, hardened Italian, dream of being a mafia kingpin individual, suddenly realize I don't know what I'm doing with my life and I can't take care of myself. I almost got myself killed. And that was a huge revelation for me. And so that it just clicked. I was like, if I continue this way, I won't live very long. And I just wanted more. I started getting really hungry for answers to questions like, why are we here? What happens when we die? And if anything, is there life beyond the grave? And is there a possibility for me to transform my life? If so, how? And I was assigned to my drug program, starting all over, which included NA, Narcotics Anonymous meetings or AA meetings, both. And there was this thing about the higher power. My friend handed me a book called The Celestine. My cousin actually handed me a book called The Celestine Prophecy, and that started to intrigue me about spirituality, meditation. They talk about the four dramas, the ways that we steal energy from each other, and I related to all of that. And the way out was to have a divine encounter, to have one's own ground of being in the true being itself, and that intrigued me. So I started going to the library more for more books and found Zen Buddhist meditation and practiced diligently, sitting quietly, doing nothing. And I say that that's a lot of Christians don't like when I talk about this, ironically, even though I love Jesus immensely. But the fact is that that was divinely led for me into that position, because that's when I started to sit still. I started sobering up. I started paying attention to my mind, my heart, my emotions, my breath, and just what was going on. And the reactivity that was going on internally became visible to me. And instead of being controlled and dominated by those internal forces, I began to just be able to observe them from like a distance. And so that was very important for me. And then the trauma began to surface. And that was when I started having these flashback memories of my stepdad, who was very violently abusive to my mother, and all that stuff that was buried under the life of gang life, violence, crime, drugs. I wasn't just a drug addict. I was a violence addict. I loved to fight and to dominate and just be the toughest, most brutal person that I could be. But what I discovered was it was me running from that pain, the unhealed childhood wounds, and it became visible and it wrecked me. And then I developed a conscience that I didn't have as a drug dealer who was very self-centered and was willing to kill my best friend for, $10,000. And the only reason I didn't do it was because I couldn't plot a way to get away with it. That's how dark my mind was. And so I sat there and cried. And then I got conscience, a sensitivity to the death and the destruction that I was causing. And I wanted to take my life. And it was in that moment that I had a knife literally to my neck. And thank God the blade was just really dull. It was just a worn out switchblade. And I'm laying there and I'm just crying and I'm angry and I'm just like slicing slowly on my neck, but I'm not really cutting in. And then I'm like, I'm just going to take the point and stick my jugular. This is how dark my mind was. And then all of a sudden I hear the song, "Oh Holy Night," start singing through my soul. And I just cried. And I felt God in my heart. I knew that there was something with me that was more than me. And I remembered that song. I was fortunate that my mother sent me to a Christian school for a few years when I was going through elementary before I hit public school, and all the violence and the gang life and everything just took me over. And that song just reverberated through my soul. Every word was remembered. And I just remember singing it as a kid. That's what we did around Christmas. And and I felt the presence of God, and then I just continued seeking, and I'm like, I want to experience God more. And one day I was walking down my stairs in the home that I was in, and it just this giddy feeling came over me, like I'm gonna meet God. And I felt like as if I was like, like a little kid playing hide and seek with his dad or something, and I felt like these like I can't explain it, but it's like a feeling of tapping me on the shoulder. And I was like, God, like you're coming, like where are you? And I was like, I was so childlike innocent, and it was so beautiful in this moment. And I got to the foyer, the bottom of the stairs, and like my vision just flipped from outside focus to just it was like I can't explain it other than that my eyes were just staring down my soul through my nervous system, and there was just nothing but glorious light. I fell to my knees. I did not believe in Jesus. I didn't believe in the Bible. I was arguing against it. I was studying Hinduism, Buddhism, um, all kinds of Eastern philosophy and perspectives, which I still love to this day. But in this moment, I fall to my knees and I literally said, Jesus Christ, in full recognition that Jesus Christ is literally the God. Like, and it wasn't like I saw a man, which most people think of Jesus as a historical figure walking. I saw the cosmic Christ, the whole universe engulfed in the truth. And it was absolute knowing. It was the sense of immortality, the sense that I began with God from the beginning. I pre-existed even in God's heart. Like all this was known. I didn't know the Bible, I didn't know the scriptures at all. I was just in this state of awareness. And God was all and in all and through all. And Christ was the glory that united everyone and everything. We are all one in Christ Jesus, the Bible says. Well, all that became viscerally and visibly real. I saw it with my eyes. I was staring through eternity. I saw all timelines of existence. I saw the hellish things that I could go do and the heavenly things that I could go do. Like there was all was available. Everything was possible. But inside of it all was the one God and this Jesus Christ, immortal, invincible being. And it was just so stable of an experience. It was rock solid, right? And it riveted my soul. And from that moment, I was like, I got to find out more about this Jesus Christ. And that took me to church and so on and so forth. And so 26 years later, I'm developing a new translation of the Bible to help properly convey what was revealed to me by interpreting the scripture a little bit more clearly. So that's where I'm at right now with my coaching and all that as well. And I'm paused with all that because there's so much more I could say, but I would love to hear from you ladies.
I'm I love that. I think
Thank
that
you.
that's a great story for many, many of us and why we choose to serve others and give our offerings because of our experience. And most of us do come from a traumatic experience, some far more complex like yours. You've been through so much and, unfortunately, there are some people who could resonate knowing that they have somebody in the position that you were on and didn't make it. And they did go further into that and just ended their life. And then there's some people who do come out of it in a different way and has been serving people. And I love that you have turned your story around and really portraying what your perspective is in reality of what the Bible is. I mean, that's what we go to church for, right? We wait for our pastor or our priest to explain what the Bible really means. And I love that you're able to even go deeper into that. And I praise you for that and thank you so much for sharing all of that.
Mm,
What an
thank you.
amazing story. There's a couple of things that you said, all in one in Christ Jesus. I grew up Catholic. My family's
Mm,
very spiritual, but I also believe in, like you said, the cosmic power and how we are all in one. And there's no right or wrong way to any of this. And healing is always possible when you look into yourself. And they always say, if you want to heal, if you're a Christian or, even in Catholic, you tell them, they tell you to find God within yourself. And that's what it sounds like what you were able to find. You found it in yourself. And I think that that's a lot to grasp from other people, to think like, how did you find it within yourself? But it's been told so many times, find God within yourself and you will find the truth. And you were able to do that. So I love your story. Another thing that you said was that, you felt good, but it was more than you. Like you knew right away it was more than who you were. So, the presence of God and how you really experienced that. Can you tell me a little bit more on like when did you know you were meant to help others heal? And what is
Mm.
it that are you healing people in a transition or somebody who's in that position and getting them out of that, struggling so deeply that their life isn't worth anything anymore? Like, where are you in your healing
Mm.
journey? How to help?
That's, thank you. That's a great question. And uh, I've worked with, you know, very high class, surgeon in Miami who's raking in millions of dollars a year and educating and training other surgeons in his center. I've worked with people out of Africa and the Philippines, people who have $0, no money, but just reach out because they're desperate for help. They read a post. I was just telling someone yesterday about a suicidal post I wrote and just my own suicide experiences and wanting to take my life and how I came through that. I had like say like 8 different girls reach out to me around that time from different countries. None of them had a dollar to pay me and didn't even bother asking, but they just needed someone to tell what was going on. And I just chatted with them or sent voice messages to encourage and support. And still get messages to this day from some of them just acknowledging, me being there. So I can, I walk people through a lot of different things. It depends on where they're at. But I think the real fundamentals are, in this last 26 years since the turnaround, my journey began very quickly. I would say the meditation was the accelerator, just sitting still. It really helped me transcend my mind and know that I'm not my mind, I'm not my emotions, I'm not my body. And I think most humans don't understand that very fundamental fact. They believe their own thoughts as if they are God. And I got very clear that that's a very flexible universe, our mind. It can go left. Like you said, there's no right or wrong. There's a fundamental that which brings life and a fundamental that which brings death, but it transcends religious morality for sure. What's right in one scenario is not right in another. Maybe right to punch someone in the face to protect your family. In another situation, in an argument with someone just over words, it may not be appropriate. It's like I have a very free soul. I'm going to be whatever I need to be in any moment, no matter what it is, whether it's kill or whether it's give life. I'm a martial artist. We learn to heal and destroy. And I embrace both sides of the universe very well. And I think real morality and integrity is about knowing when each is important to protect and preserve life ultimately. And sometimes you got to make hard decisions, really difficult ones. And so I'm there for people through anything. I love giving people the listening that no one in the world is giving them. Most humans have zero capacity to just embrace a person's darkness, their pain, their hate. Um, Even last night, I was walking through my own hatred of God, believe it or not, sharing with my woman, and she was very stressed a little bit. But what God was bringing forth was deep surfacing of like not just my pain, but the world's pain. People are disappointed, they're hurt. I was feeling all of that, and I'm very okay giving myself space to have that.
Mhm.
And she was with me through it, and I just was like, "Honey, I'm feeling the pain of the world. This isn't just mine." And she was like, wow. And she got it. And she's like, I was feeling a little stressed by what you were sharing because I'm just raw. I don't hold any. I said, look, I risk everything. I'll say anything to you because either you're with me or you're not. But this is the journey I'm on, and this is where I'm going, and this is what I'm here for, is to walk people with this through this. So for me, it's like you could tell me anything, and it's like I love you, and I'm here with you. If you want healing and you want help, like everything's welcome. And that's one of the secrets. There's nothing to change or fix about people. It's an honor that needs to be brought to their wounding.
Yes.
They're even if they hate the good, it's like, okay, tell me more. It's like we're so afraid to just have it as it is. And I was for years, even with God in my life. But I learned through breakdowns in relationship that people just need to be seen
Hmm.
and there's nothing to fear. if they're open, right? There are people who are destructive and abusive, and I'm not saying we should open our hearts and just submit to all of that. But there are people who are like, they just need to tell what's going on. And sometimes they need my job, what I'm really good at is finding what you're not willing to look at, finding what you can't be with, finding what you've been resisting. And even when you consciously, desperately want to get inside, you can't do it alone. I know what's there. I can see it. I have x-ray vision. I know because my own pain has become so visceral clear to me that I've been honest with myself about the depths of my darkness that I can be with yours. I'm not afraid of it. And I think that's really the fundamental gift that I want to bring to the world and how I train coaches. The light's not afraid of dark.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I think that that's, what we all do as healers is that we try to bring the truth in our hearts that, what the deception that we keep telling ourselves. And, being in like behavioral health and stuff and understanding like why we do those. We are a survival being and we try to protect ourselves in many, many different ways. And now that
Many.
doesn't mean that we're protecting ourselves in the best way, but that is what our own
Absolutely.
subconscious mind is doing. And it's not, a lot of people say, mental illness and, people who are drug addicts, oh, they're choosing to do that. In a way, yes, but in another way, if you really look on how our mind and how powerful our minds are, it is what our mind is telling us is the better way. I remember I had an alcoholic who had been an alcoholic for his entire life, and he was dying. He had cirrhosis of the liver and just wanted to really clean up. And he was, we went back and find out like the deep root cause of everything. And obviously, it's always some trauma in childhood. And I remember him telling me when he was like a teenager, he decided, like, well, his mind was telling him that he had to drink to keep himself alive. And
Mhm.
what we found was that if he didn't drink, he would have killed himself. He would have committed suicide. And the drinking was numbing the pain enough to keep him alive. And
Mhm.
I know it's really hard to even think that way, but that is so amazing on how our powerful our mind is and how our brain works. But that's just how our subconscious level really, really goes into that like survival mode. And that's what we do. We want to survive in any way possible, right? If you, I don't know, like
Yep.
if you've ever read that book where they got stuck up in the mountain, Everest or something, and they ended up eating their friends when they died because it's a survival. You wouldn't think to do that, right? But when you're
I
in
would.
survival
I'm
mode,
prepared. I'm ready for it.
you're ready to eat your friends.
Given a lot of thought to these things over the years,
Well, now I'm
yes.
gonna have to think twice about being your friend.
It's okay.
But it's
We
really
would look for the meaty person first. That's not, you're kind of tiny and you don't really, but it's understandable is what
yeah,
I'm saying. And
right.
it's like that's why I said there's right and wrong changes depending on your conditions in life.
Yeah. So I want to bring Megan in. I know that there was a couple of things that you heard that you wanted to go in as a healer and understanding. Megan has a knowledge of everything. I call her my, Google. But I know that she was clapping and, I wanted to hear from you and see what you had to say about a couple of the things that Vince was really pulling out. I mean, he said a lot of cool things. So would love
I
to
got
hear.
a little teary and I had goosebumps. Like
Mm.
that story was
Oh,
absolutely amazing and
oh,
it touched my heart. And I think the thing that happens with healing, especially with working with people, how I do, it's full body. Like we can't just take care of the physical being. We have to take care of the spiritual, the emotional, the energetic being as well. And there's many tools. I'm going to have to get Vince's number because I would love to share with clients because a lot of people go through physical ailments because they're dealing with spiritual and emotional things that they're feeling they need to black. So for me, I feel like addiction, drugs, alcohol, they all block our heart chakra.
Mm.
Like they block us from feeling the things that need to be felt so that we can heal. And so it's so amazing that like that was your first, like I started healing and then I was like, something is missing. And it was the spiritual side. So that then I got into like meditation and being able to sit with myself and being able
Mm.
to, I call it being my own best friend. And you do feel that presence of a higher being with you, consoling you and being with you, but it only happens in the quiet. And a lot of times when we first start out, that's pretty uncomfortable and people just like press the brake. They're like, no, I don't want to do that. That's scary to me.
Hmm.
But I just think your story is absolutely amazing and your services that you offer with helping people connect to their spiritual self and to a higher power is absolutely needed in the healing process. And I don't think anyone will ever heal 100% unless they take care of that just as much as they're taking care of their physical being. So,
That's beautiful. And that's, I often ask therapists. I was training therapists in recovery centers, okay? I'm not a licensed or clinician or therapist, but in those centers, five of them, the directors asked their therapists to join my groups, to sit with me, to learn what I was being and doing. And, healing, I would ask them, like, what is healing? Like, what does it mean to bring healing or to support healing? Like, what does it mean to be healed or whole? I couldn't get a clear definition from anyone. And nobody really understood that. Like, how are you going to help take somebody to healing if you don't even know how to define what healing is? And healing is really wholeness of being. And that's like a standard that few people actually understand. And spirit, mind, emotion, body, relationships, purpose, it's all dimensions. You can't just fix one little part and bring healing to a little part and have true wholeness. We are complex, multidimensional beings. So what you're pointing to is beautiful. And the spiritual word is so vague and often misunderstood, but spirit is defined in my book, scientifically speaking, take away the woo woo. What is this property of the spirit? Spirit provides two dimensions of existence for us. One is its awareness fundamentally, pure awareness, awareness that can see a baby get murdered or watch flowers grow and have zero opinion. That's hard for people to grasp, but awareness has no interpretation. Humans do, our mind and our emotions do. But the fundamental nature of spirit is just pure awareness. It is innocent of all things human. And then its cause. And I think we need to understand these fundamental properties of consciousness. It causes thought, it causes emotion, it causes action, causes movement in the world. And so bringing people back to an awareness of that pure original innocence before there was knowing this, that, or other, it's just the ability to see as things are without our projections, without our fantasies about how it should be, without our rose-colored glasses or our dark, woe is me, life is miserable, dread sunglasses. Either way, there's impurity in both. And that's hard for especially spiritual people because they want to be so positive. And
Mm.
that's what makes me different is like, I don't need to be positive. I can see your darkness and love that and embrace that without coloring it up. And I think that's really critical. And there's one last thing that when I was meditating, it's over here, this one, right? Just like this, right? I also was guided into a book called, I think it was called Nutritional Healing, giant Bible, right? It was a book that I had received through one of my dad's ex-girlfriend's dead husband or something that had all this stuff. And that taught me about fasting and
Mhm.
it taught me about nutritional health. And so I combined meditation, which is a form of fasting from all things, conversations, people, things, just being with self. But I also started, the practice of not eating and just drinking water and just letting my body empty. And that's how in less than a year I went from a drug dealing criminal who was just fully just toxic. My mind was just blurred and like I couldn't barely think straight to being someone that people called Jesus at work in the restaurant that I was at while I was going to school because I was just radiating light. But I was skinny, I was thin, but my body was detoxifying. I was emptying and I was eating healthy foods. And that was a huge part of getting my mind right and my body right. I literally changed. I mean, to go from where I was to where I got within a year was miraculous, but it was a combination of holistic health and well-being. It was spiritual practice and devotion. It was fasting from the world by meditating and just sitting quietly. So I love what you ladies do because I would not be who I am, you know. And most of us, maybe you're not snorting cocaine on the weekends or throughout the days, but maybe you're eating Doritos, you know, and watching Netflix and like don't realize what MSG is doing to your body and your brain. Don't realize what that nasty fat and corn is doing to your cells and tissues. There's a lot there that I think needs to be addressed, and I know that both of you are really big on providing wisdom and insight and, you know, real foods that make a difference. So I love and honor that as well.
Thank you so much. You are such an absolute delight in your story. And,
Thank you.
I got chills when you talked about, when you heard that holy night as you were really having that dark moment in yourself and ready. And that's when really, to me, those are signs from God. You said, oh, he's somewhere around me, but, him bringing that song back into your mind just instantly. What a powerful thing, right?
Mm,
What an amazing experience to have that moment of clarity and just knowing that you are taken care of. Like he's right
mhm.
there with you. You are loved and you have a better purpose than where you are right now. One of the things I actually was in an interview yesterday and we talked about how one of the questions that she asked me is, do you regret anything that you ever experienced? And I'm going to
Mm,
tell you, I don't. And it was dark moments of my life as well, but I am so happy that I did go through those because then I wouldn't have the knowledge or the experience to be able to support others who are in that position, who
mhm.
doesn't have the sources or resources that we do now. And so, it's beautiful that you're able to really bring that out and your ministry of really supporting others no matter where they are in their lives. And that's what we do here, like you talking about the wholeness and holistically. I mean, that's exactly what holistic mean is that
Mhm.
just really understanding the whole being. We're not just one thing or the other. Being in the medical field, understanding the human body and how intricate it is and how it really works, and then adding that in the knowledge of nutrition, like you said. You can fix
Mhm.
one thing, but if you're ignoring the others, you're still going to have that void no matter what
Truly.
until you balance everything, not even fix, just really balance everything out.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure
I
if,
think Megan said she has to leave in a few moments, so
yeah, we
you go.
are wrapping up. And, one question I do have for you is what one simple truth or practice you'd offer someone struggling today?
Wow. I would love to. So before I answer that, I know Megan's got to leave quickly. So I would like to have Megan just share what's maybe on her heart first, if that's okay. And then I can speak to that, even if she has to dip out just
Sure.
ahead of time, because I would like to be clear on that and maybe even could do a demo if you're willing to hang for an extra 5 minutes. Listen, I could guide some people through something. I would love to share that if possible.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Megan.
no, I just think this was an absolutely amazing meeting. And you spoke about like, making sure we're taking care of all the things. There's actually a form I have clients filled out called the Wheel of Life, where we're seeing where we
Yes.
are, and then we can see. And it's so interesting because I just looked at mine from when I was sick, and spiritual was at like a 0, and
Wow.
now I feel like I'm at an 8 or a 9 on that. Like I've never
It's
felt
beautiful.
more whole, and that's what it is just getting taking care of the body as a whole. And I really appreciate what you do,
Mhm.
and I'm so sorry I have to run.
No, yeah, I wish you could hang on more. And you know, spirit is the ground of being. It is our beingness, and I think that's just an invisible thing. And so, giving people access to their fundamental of being itself, right? That's how I start all of my work, because with that, then we can move through mind, emotion, body, and all the other things of life. But beautiful, Megan. Thank you. Would love to connect with you again. I think this
So
is
much.
a
It
really
was
wonderful
great to
space.
meet you. Yes, I will message you because I would love to get your
Feel
information to share
would
with
love to connect.
clients.
Thank you so very much. Love what you're
I
doing.
appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Yeah, that's that last point there. You know, like I said, spiritual can be interpreted in so many ways and it can go into religious stuff and people have resistance to that. But it's like Scientifically, it is the fundamental essence of your consciousness and who and what you truly are at your core. And it doesn't require you doing anything for it to be what it is. And so I move people into a direct encounter with that, which is even without, I don't have to talk about God or religion or anything to get people to experience God. And I prefer that sometimes because some people just have hard reactions, and understandably so. But the beingness that they are, that's what I move people to first and foremost, to give them a sense that there's a fundamental ground of being that's already whole and complete. And you can experience it with just a little bit of guidance, start to relax the mind, emotions, and the body, regulate the nervous system, bring the heart and the brain into coherence. And all of a sudden, there's this sense that I'm okay. I am already whole. And once that's felt, we build on that. We grow. I want to build a lot of intimacy with that quality of experience within a human being first. Where I see therapy falling short a lot of times is that, and even in my past, it was just driving to the problem.
Yeah.
And people are not always equipped yet
Yes.
to handle what's about to come up. I was not equipped to handle my trauma coming up, and I almost wanted to commit suicide. And
Hmm.
I learned that like people need to have some ground of being that's safe and secure within. And from that place, now let's invite into that space what needs to be made whole. And so that's a different approach that I take than a lot of therapy is just like starting to examine different things or slowly, or maybe even beating around the bush. But then because of that, I can penetrate deeply into like what hasn't been resolved because we have a stable foundation and they know I'm with them as well. So I'd love to create a little demo process. Maybe I think it's better than explaining it for a few moments with you and for
Yeah.
whoever's watching.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's do it.
I did not
So,
expect this, but yes, absolutely.
okay, awesome. Well, it's just experience triumphs over, theory. So the practice is simple. We're just gonna sit quietly, nice and still, straighten the spine, head reaching up to the sky, relaxing the shoulders, neck, the chest, the belly. Feel into the breath and just watch the breath for a few moments. There's nothing to do right now, and that's so important. We're so busy in our lives all the time, but this is a time to just pause, let your body be, let your emotions just flow, and let your mind do whatever it's doing. You don't need to stop anything in the mind or force anything to change. It's just being with it. And start to feel into the heart space a little more. Feel into the breath coming in through the nose, out through the nose. And begin to welcome the breath into awareness even more. And can you also start to feel into the body a little bit more through the crown of your head, your temples, your forehead, your eyes, around your nose and cheeks, your jaw. And let all of these muscles begin to soften through your face and around the back of your head and by your ears, just becoming aware of these parts of your body and gently starting to soften. Allow your body to take a moment's rest as we move through the neck, the same thing, and the throat, just letting go through the shoulders and the upper back, opening, softening down through the arms and the hands, the fingers, gentle releasing. And through the upper chest, in the center of your chest, can you let your heart relax and open a little bit more? Your solar plexus soften and drop down with the belly releasing. The whole body just relaxing, resting through the hips, the groin, the thighs, the hamstrings, through the knees, the shins, the calves, the ankles, the feet, even your toes, the whole body getting a little bit of attention, a little bit of love as you release the body to just be here. And continue to tune into the breath, feeling that air come through the nose in. Let your belly expand gently as that breath comes in and just exhale gently, allowing that process to take place. And just observe the breath for a few moments more without doing it, but letting it happen. Notice how life is giving itself to you without you doing anything. Your heart is pulsing. The breath is circulating. All the activities that are required for your body to be here are doing their thing. And you don't have to do it. For now, you can just let it be. And we're going to focus more intimately on the breath as we take a deep breath through the nose in. And then through the mouth, quickly release the air and just relax the body. Good. Nose in, belly expand. Mouth out, quickly release and let go. Nose in, belly expand. And mouth out, let go. We're going to do that 2 more times, circulating all that oxygen through the body. Nose in. Big, big breath in. Mouth out. Nose in, big breath. Mouth out. Good. Your biggest breath yet in, super big breath. Nose in and hold at the top. Hold this breath in. It's going to begin to create nitric oxide in the blood. Just relax your body, your head, neck, shoulders, belly. Keep holding the breath gently with minimal effort. Soften. Swallow your saliva. Pay attention to this autonomic process. Just watch the saliva run down into your belly. Be with the fullness of air in your lungs. Just feel the presence of life in you for a few moments and then make your lips into a pinhole. Slowly release the air. This will produce even more nitric oxide. And what you're going to feel is your blood vessels and capillaries are going to open and release, and the blood's going to flow. That's oxygenated. And you'll feel your mind and your emotions and your body a little more still, a little more calm. And can you welcome the presence of love into your heart? Can you bring the right hand to your heart, left hand to your lower abdomen, and with your hands, love your body. Honor your heart through the right hand. Honor your lower abdomen, your digestive system, your liver, your spleen, and even the sexual reproductive organs. Just send love into these centers and just welcome the presence of life. Allow it to fill you. Just receive. Feel how worthy and deserving of life you are because it gives itself to you so freely. Can you feel a sense of safety in your heart? A sense of support deep within your soul? Will you allow yourself to feel secure and even whole and complete in this moment? And realize there's nothing wrong with you. You already are the presence of awareness and the fullness of life. It's a remembering. It's an allowing. It's a surrender to all that is good in you and as you. Good. We'll close with another set of breaths. Nose in, nice and deep. Mouth out. Nose in. Mouth out. Nose in. Mouth out. Good. One more time. Big breath in and hold at the top. Just hold all that beautiful oxygen, rich air in the lungs. Relax the body. Swallow your saliva one more time. Just feel it running down to the belly. Sit in that fullness. Sit in that power. Feel your being alive. And then make your lips into a pinhole. Slowly release and let life soak into every cell, into every tissue, into every organ, into every molecule, to every atom, until you realize the quantum potential of life everlasting that you already are. Just take one moment in the silence. Amen.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. I actually needed that. I was very relaxing
Mm,
and clearing of the mind. That was beautiful. Thank you. You have a
so
piece
welcome.
of you that's just so warm and
Thank you.
loving. And I appreciate you sharing that moment with us. And this is a Health Hack Thursday, and that was a beautiful health hack
Yes.
to learn how to just be with yourself. So
Hmm. So
thank you again. You've really calmed me down.
good. That's the
Usually
point
I'm
of that.
but this is
So good.
all it was needed, and I
Thank you.
appreciate your time. Thank you, everyone. I know we went over a little bit, but thank you for those who did stay and listen because that was such a beautiful moment, and it
Mm,
does help a lot of people who don't know how to really calm that mind, and this is
that's
just
right.
the most helpful thing. So thank you so much for your time, your
Thank you for
story,
having me. Yes.
ministry, your being, and we welcome you again for
Hmm.
more stories that you would love to share and even people that you've helped. Thank you again, Vince, and we will
Thank you,
talk
Melissa.
soon. Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate you. Bless you. Thank you all.
And
Have a great
remember
day.
to always be kind to yourself. And
Hmm.
bye, everyone. Have a good day.
Take care.